Yeah, I think for me the connection, and whenever I meet Rémy, we always almost like reinforce what we are, and we reinforced each other. Like we are b-boys, we are about this hip hop life, and we shoot on film. And that's really what kept on coming up every time. Every time, like last week, Saturday, Remy's like playing me his beats. I'm like, your beats are sick. And his beats are like in such a way that I want to rhyme on his beats. That almost reinforced that triples down on the b-boy values and the b-boy aesthetic. So it's kind of like part of the whole process for us to just almost put that out there and say, this is what we're about. Not only are we about this life, but we're about Paris and we're about London, and we want to push this life out there. So then the next question for us is, how do we push this life out there? How do we celebrate our photography in the 21st century, 2020, and how can we make sure that the photography is pure and is as good as photography can be where we are in the future of time, you know? And that's how we came together. Yeah. So I think beats came first.
Yeah, and also, so I was living in Paris, I had a girlfriend in London, and I told my friend Yannick that I was going to London, and so Yannick, knowing that I do photography and film, he's like, oh, you should meet my guy. Eddie is like the king of film photography.
Hip-hop has grown with photography, and there has been no formal relationship between the two. Look at Henry Chalfont's book of graffiti. Without photography, you can't say this graffiti even happened. Some of the best shots over the years, as we look back on it, are shots that come out of the archives of pieces that existed on walls, of the humanity that went there. On your way to school, hitting up the train yard, painting, then waiting for the train to pull in the next morning. That's the life of every b-boy of every city around the world. Why do we put ourselves through this? Why do we paint trains all night long? Why are we painting canvases? Because why don't you paint a canvas? Why are you painting trains, bruv? Part of it sits against the law. It sits outside of the law. It sits outside of society. But we're investing so hard in society by painting for society, by photographing our society, and by saying that Erykah Badu's a hero, you know, by saying that Madlib is a hero. Like, these are heroes, they're icons, we have them on the wall, and we've gone out of our way to make sure that they are on the best film, best cameras, the best processes, and the best way of putting our best ideas on paper. Because that's the challenge as an analog photographer, putting it on paper. See, some artists, you know that they're on their trajectory and that you're just meeting them at a certain point, and then you duck out. You can't really interact with them any more than that. And with some artists, they're like, they've just got off a plane and they need a spliff. They need you to hand them some weed so that they're good. The complexity of it all, of like being a collector, of loving the photography, loving the film, loving the camera, loving the culture, loving the life, and just being in our own lane. To be reinforced and to support each other is really the key. To be in the community where, you know, a lot of the stuff was shot in Brixton was about feeding back to the community that we are all important. And this is how we make that relevant. And again, another part of the show is contact sheets. How the contact sheet is a story and how we, as two photographers, want to tell our story, you know. And so right now we're focusing on Rémy's story, and it's deep. You know, every contact sheet is so much to say, but it's kind of like to say that we are all part of a culture, and we all talk and we all communicate. We're communicating, we're having this dialogical conversation about photography. It was still this continual dialogue between cities, exchanging ideas and styles and techniques, and we adopting them and then remixing them and adding some flavor, which is why I think our show is important to sort of say, look, hip hop in Europe is a thing. It's a thing.